There was a version of you that believed life would make sense by now, not perfectly. Not exactly the way you imagined. But you believed there would be progress, that one day you'd wake up in a life that felt like your own. You had plans. Ideas scribbled into notebooks. Screenshots full of half-formed dreams. Conversations that always ended with, one day. One day I'll build that business. One day I'll travel. One day I'll write that book. One day I'll make my parents proud. Somewhere between then and now, something changed. Not all at once. Quietly. So quietly you didn't notice it happening, until one day you looked around and realized you weren't living the life you'd imagined. And maybe the hardest part is, you can't point to the exact moment it happened. There wasn't one terrible decision that ruined everything. No single catastrophe. No movie scene where it all fell apart. Instead, life just kept moving. Days became weeks. Weeks became years. Responsibilities replaced curiosity. Survival replaced excitement. I don't mean what happened to the economy, or society, or politics. I mean us. The people who once believed we had so much time. The people who couldn't wait to grow up. Maybe you're 28. Maybe you're 36. Age stops mattering after a while, because disappointment has a strange way of making every year feel the same. People ask how you're doing. You smile. I'm figuring things out. And maybe that's even true. But there's another sentence you never say out loud. I thought I'd be further by now. You see former classmates announcing promotions. Friends buying homes. People starting families, launching businesses, traveling the world. You tell yourself you're happy for them, and you are. But underneath it, there's a quiet ache. Not because you want their life. Because every milestone reminds you of the one you thought you'd be living to. So you scroll a little faster. You avoid the reunion invite. You hesitate before replying to "we should catch up sometime," not because you don't care, because you're tired of answering, "So, what have you been up to?" Before we go any further, I want to tell you something that changed the way I think about struggle. The psychiatrist M. Scott Peck opened one of his most influential books with 3 simple words: life is difficult. Not difficult for unsuccessful people. Not difficult until you figure it out. Just difficult. It's such an ordinary sentence that most people read right past it. But think about what it actually means. If life is supposed to be difficult, then struggling isn't evidence you failed. It means you're participating in the same human experience as everyone else. Some people just hide it better, and yet so many of us quietly believe our struggles must be evidence we're doing something wrong. We compare our private battles to everyone else's public victories, until we stop asking what happened to us, and start asking something far more dangerous: what's wrong with me? Maybe nothing is wrong with you. Maybe you've just been carrying disappointment so long you've started calling it your identity, and those are 2 very different things. Disappointment is an experience. It is not a personality. Failure is something that happens. It is not someone you become. The problem is, life rarely changes us all at once. It changes us in quiet moments. The dream you put on hold for 6 months, that quietly became 6 years. The guitar you promised yourself you'd pick back up. The friend you kept meaning to call. The application you never submitted because you wanted to be more ready. None of these moments seemed important on their own. But life isn't built in dramatic moments, it's built in ordinary ones, repeated until they become a direction. That's the frightening part. Most people don't lose themselves in a single decision. They lose themselves in hundreds of small compromises they barely notice making. Not because they're weak. Not because they're lazy. Because life has a way of convincing us that survival is enough, and once survival becomes the only goal, it's easy to forget what you were originally trying to live for. The psychologist Alfred Adler argued that our past doesn't actually determine our future. We're the ones who decide what our experiences mean. The job that fell apart. The relationship that ended badly. Those things happen to you. But the story you've been telling yourself about what they mean, that part, you're still writing. And often, staying busy is its own quiet form of avoidance, not the dramatic kind of self-sabotage, but the habit of filling every hour specifically so you never have to sit still long enough to ask yourself the harder questions. Not because you're weak, because avoiding the question feels safer than facing an answer you might not like. But here's the truth that gives me hope. If you can slowly drift away from the life you wanted, you can slowly find your way back. Not in one dramatic weekend. Not through one motivational speech. Because direction is built the same way it was lost, one choice at a time. This isn't the part where I tell you to hustle harder, wake up earlier, or grind until your life changes. If you've spent years carrying disappointment, comparison, and regret, being yelled at isn't what you need. You need clarity, because people rarely change when they feel ashamed. They change when they finally tell themselves the truth, and the truth is this: your past deserves compassion. But your future deserves courage. Those two things can exist together. Viktor Frankl survived a Nazi concentration camp, and what he took from it wasn't bitterness, it was the observation that almost everything can be stripped from a person except one thing: the freedom to choose their own attitude toward what happens to them. You didn't choose every circumstance that shaped your last 10 years. But you still get to choose what you do with the next one. And you don't need to feel ready before you act. We tend to wait for motivation to show up first, as if it's a prerequisite, but motivation is usually the result of small action, not the cause of it. You don't need to feel inspired to pick the guitar back up. You just need to pick it up. The feeling tends to follow. So, what happened to us? Maybe life happened. Maybe fear happened. Maybe comfort happened. Maybe we spent so long surviving that we forgot we were supposed to be living, but I refuse to believe your story is over simply because it didn't happen on schedule. Not because of a few mistakes, few rejections, and a few painful chapters. Not unless you let it. This is why this channel exists. Not to promise you success. Not to tell you life is easy. But to remind you that the bravest thing a person can do is stop running from regrets, from fears, and from the life that's still waiting to be lived. Face it. Learn from it. Build from it. Frankl put it better than I ever could: those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. You don't need every answer right now. You just need one small reason to start again, and that's usually enough. If today, for the first time in a while, you're ready to face your life, subscribe, and welcome home, buddy.